back to the Comptia Network Plus course. BRI1. See that we can see a problem with this interface. Right there is the first line output. The serial 0/0 is up, but the line protocol is down, which tells us that our local router interface connecting to the CSU DSU is working, but we're still not seeing the remote router. Once in a while this indicates a remote router problem, but it's usually an ISP issue. So again, it means you've got to call into the ISP if you're getting this error. Look at all those input errors. This is screaming that you've got a troubled line, probably some type of interference which needs to be reported. Split horizon. Split horizon issues usually happen when using frame relay in an environment where you have multiple PVCs coming into a single serial WAN interface. This configuration makes the routing protocol think that it's receiving routes on the same interface that they are being sent out of, which in this case would result in the routes being dropped. A great way to solve the problem is to create a sub interfaces, logical interfaces on the serial interface to make the routing protocol believe there are multiple interfaces, one for each subnet, so the routing advertisement will be recorded. The configuration would go from looking like this: interface serial 04/serial IP address 10.1.12.1 255.255.255.0, no IP directed broadcast encapsulation frame relay, to looking like this: interface serial 0, no IP address. Notice that there's no IP address on the physical interface. No IP directed broadcast encapsulation frame relay. Interfaces serial 04/0.102 point-to-point IP address 10.1.12.1 255.255.255.0, no IP directed broadcast frame relay interface DLCI 102, interface 04/0.103 point-to-point IP address 10.1.13.1 255.255.255.0, no IP directed broadcast frame relay interface DLCI 103. DNS issues. Another issue that could make it appear as if the internet connectivity has gone down completely involves DNS. If users cannot resolve names, it seems like everything is broken to them. The first step to solve a DNS issue is to understand exactly how your DNS is set up on your specific network. Do you have a local DNS server, or are you using the ISP's DNS server? If you can ping a site such as 74.125.228.50 but can't ping www.google.com from an internal host, you know you're dealing with a DNS resolution issue. Start by verifying the local DNS server if you use one, and if it checks out, call the ISP. Router configurations. Router configurations can also be the culprit when WAN services just aren't working right. All you need is an admin that enters some routing protocol information incorrectly, and your access to the internet goes poof. So your first step is to always verify that your default route to the ISP when troubleshooting the routers that connect you to the internet. By using the command shown IP route on the router, we can see the routing table has the map of the internetwork that the router uses to make its forwarding decisions. Command security policy. Another common culprit that can often cause WAN related problems is the company security policy. For example, if there's a firewall blocking ports, say an application that need to get to the internet, it mimics a WAN issue. When the root of the problem is actually bad configuration on your firewalls. Another common source of trouble tickets has to do with slow response time, which again make it look as though it's the WAN link that's having the issues, but again it's possible that it's the security policy that's throttling bandwidth on certain applications. I can't tell you how typical this is these days. Many company policies block certain sites, demanding that you provide URL filtering to them, especially social and streaming news feeds. People often refer to these security orientated limitations as fair access policies or utilization limits, which are forced upon certain activities for several reasons, but most often to preserve bandwidth. In this chapter you learned about the important issues involved in providing WAN connectivity between geographically separated network locations, as well as about the different kinds of WAN connections, including point-to-point connections, circuit switched service provider networks, and packet switched service provider networks. You also become aware of the impacts on different transmission media and different distance parameters have on WAN connections. In addition, you learned about the choices for lease line connections along with broadband technologies like XDSL and cable modems. You studied the different WAN protocols and technologies used in connecting today's high-speed WANs, including ISDN, frame relay, ATM and MPLS, and were equipped with helpful strategies to troubleshoot and solve common WAN connection issues. So I'm going to leave it here today for this video. If you like listening, please consider like, sharing and subscribing. Thank you.